Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, and I want to wish you a very happy new year, friend. We made it. We are here. It is 2026, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a shift happening. There's like this stirring. Something is about to break wide open in a really beautiful way. But before we get there, I want to be real with you about 2025 because honestly, it was blah for me. And I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me out. It wasn't a bad year, but it also wasn't explosive or a breakthrough or, oh my gosh, everything is amazing kind of year either. It was just mediocre. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just felt like going through the motions. There were some wonderful moments, some not so wonderful moments, and then a lot of just ordinary, kind of messy in between moments. And if I'm being completely honest with you, it felt super uncomfortable for me. I'm used to pushing and to achieving and to making things happen, and it really felt like a tweener year for me. Does that sound familiar, friend? Anywho, I cannot wait to dive into a brand new episode with a brand new year of the show, the first one of this new year, and I'm going to share with you my word for the year. Let's go. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. Today, I want to talk to you about my word for 2026, the word that I believe that is going to shift everything for me. And I want to challenge you to find your own word because sis, having a word of the year in eating disorder recovery, well, for me, it's game changing. And even if it's not necessarily just a word, think of a theme. So in the previous years, I always felt like a resolution just never worked out for me. I felt like everyone was fast forward to the gym, trying to do all these weight loss goals. And for me, that was really toxic in terms of maintaining a healthy relationship with not going back into diet fads and continuing to honor and nourish my body, even and after recovery, treatment, etc. And so for me, I changed from a resolution and like having to start on Monday and all of that crazy to a word. And last year, my word was leadership. And when I chose that word, I thought I knew what it meant. I mean, I thought it meant stepping up, building my business even more out, my team more out, expanding, leading others with confidence. And in some ways, it did mean that. But girl, leadership showed up in so many ways that I did not expect in 2025. I had to make the really hard decision to fire someone, actually a couple people in my support staff. People that I trusted, people that I cared about. There was people that left on their own and not like hard ill will or anything at all. It was just a lot of that kind of thing and stepping up. I had to take a step back and I went from running a team back to running my business solo again outside of my VA. And I had to take a step back in what I offered because I just couldn't balance it anymore. I couldn't do it all anymore. And so in terms of leadership, I felt like I just wanted to lean in and lead and invest in my business last year as women are continuing to invest in their recovery. And so I knew in order to do that, like I was going to have to go all in. And I invested a large amount of money. I mean large and in charge. I'm not going to go into all the details, but this was with a business mentor and coach who promised to help me scale and grow and build. And the reality is she didn't deliver. She didn't show up. She didn't keep her commitment. And it wasn't because I didn't show up. She simply quit, shut down her doors of her business. And I felt like I was in a nightmare where I couldn't get my money back. I was left feeling burned, feeling frustrated, and honestly really angry because I value my clients so much. I just can't imagine doing that to someone and being content with myself. But you know what? That experience taught me so much outside of the anger. It taught me what not to be as a leader. It taught me what kind of coach I didn't want to show up as. It taught me who I wanted to attract into my life and to my business. And eventually it led me to an incredible mentor and friend and coach who I'm currently working with and have been for the past 6 months. And that is exactly what I needed. Leadership in 2025 meant I had to lead myself first. And I had to push myself forward without second guessing every single decision. Maybe you feel like that sometimes too. Like you're constantly second guessing yourself. The eating disorder has a way of fooling your brain to believing that your truth isn't the real truth and that it knows best for you. And I don't know, I just feel like with my personality, this is something that I've always kind of struggled with. And I had to stop questioning myself and just trust. I had to put my money where my mouth was and then show up even when it was hard and even when it was uncomfortable. And even when I wanted to quit and not invest in a new mentor. Because that's what leaders do. They keep going, they set the example, and that's what I needed to learn. So as 2025 was wrapping up, I sat down to think about my word for 2026. And girl, I was stuck. The Recovery Collective is our support group. And I had talked with the ladies in our last session about coming up with your word for the year. And I gave them some prompts. And as I sat down with myself doing those prompts, like nothing fit for me for 26. I wanted to find the perfect word, a word that would set the tone for this upcoming year, a word that would be pivotal for everything that I felt stirring. And I just simply couldn't land on it. I don't know. It just got me thinking as I was prepping for the show. Does that sound familiar? Like you want something so perfectly that you won't commit to it because it's not ready. It's not there. It's not exactly how it should be. Wanting something to be perfect before you commit. That's exactly the phrase. And waiting for clarity before you take action at all because you're like, well, this has to be the thing. Yeah, well, that's the disorder talking. That's the perfectionist talking. And for me, that still tries to creep in my head, that language of perfection. And it tries to tell me that if I can't do it perfectly, then I just shouldn't pick a word at all. If I can't pick the word, then what's the use of it at all? But here's what I realized. I don't need the perfect word. I need the right word. I need the word that is going to challenge me, that is going to stretch me, and that's going to call me into who I'm becoming. I sat there and I thought about that exact concept. The word that is going to challenge and stretch me. The word that is going to call me into who I'm becoming. And then it hit me right upside the head. That's my word. My word is becoming. At first, I wasn't totally sure. It felt too open-ended, too uncertain, too gray maybe. And you know how I feel about gray, right? I like structure, I like plans, I like knowing exactly what's coming next, no surprises. But that is exactly why this word is perfect for me. Because in 2026, I'm ready to lean into who I'm becoming and embrace it with open arms, even if I don't have all the answers yet. And friend, this exercise of like choosing a word, it's not supposed to be an event, right? You shouldn't be standing in line at the Hallmark store or the card store looking at all the cards for 45 minutes, okay? It's not to cause indecisiveness or any of that. But I wanted this year for my word to just set the tone because I've been in a season of I don't know what's next. Like I know that I'm going to continue to show up here. I know the women that I serve. I know you, friend. I'm not going to stop pouring in here and serving you in the community space of eating disorder recovery. Like I am not going to stop doing that because that is who I am with all that I am. But I felt like in 2025, I was just trying to do all the things and it was exhausting, quite frankly. And becoming means becoming more aligned. It means becoming more grounded in my purpose. Like I know my purpose. I know what God has called me to do. He's called me to help reach out to you and to guide you and to tell you like, this is the path, friend. I've gone down this road and I can help you. I can help you find freedom. In many ways, it means becoming more present in all the things, not just my business, but also as a more present mom and a more present wife. and not just existing in the same space as my family on client calls all the time, but actually being there with them. It means becoming more honest with myself around people pleasing and finally laying down the boundaries that I've been really scared to set. Because sis, I want to be real with you. I have been a people pleaser probably my entire life. If you're there, it's exhausting, isn't it? And what I've noticed over this past year is that it's keeping me from stepping into the fullness of who God created me to be. Becoming, to me, means becoming the businesswoman who is ready to embrace the next season and all the favor that God has for me. Honestly, this past year, I kind of felt like God was like, Lindsay, you've totally got this. You are doing a wonderful job blessing other humans. You are helping so many women across the world just with your podcast alone, but I want to take you further. And there was this wall that I put up. Like, well, I don't know if I trust. I don't know if that's where I want to go. I don't know if that's me. Because I was always that little girl that didn't feel like I fit in. And so sometimes for me, receiving a blessing is really hard because I question it. And so becoming is transitioning from so much structure and control to being okay with the gray, to being someone who doesn't need to have it all figured out to move forward. And let me tell you, while the word felt squishy, it also felt freeing. So why am I telling you this? You're like, I love this conversation, but how do I apply this to my life? Why do I care, Lindsay? Because I want you to have a word. I want you to think about recovery, because having a word that represents who you are becoming, and becoming doesn't have to be the word, by the way, a word that represents where you're headed, it gives you motivation. It's attached to your why. It gives you a North Star. When you're in the thick of recovery, when the eating disorder is loud, when you feel lost or stuck or like you're going in circles, you need a grounding place. And it can remind you of who you are, where you're headed, and why you're doing this work in the first place. Secondly, it shifts your identity because that voice has convinced you that your identity is actually tied to your weight and to your body and to food rules and to control. But when you can shift that and give yourself that word immediately, it's a quick shift and a level set. And it reminds you that you're becoming someone so much deeper, someone truer, someone who has grace, someone who is surrendered, someone who has hope, someone who is moving towards freedom. Insert a word there. Someone who isn't defined by the lies of the years of the lies of the eating disorder and what she's been feeding you. And then lastly, having a word and just focusing and grounding on that, it gives you permission to be in this process. This process is messy, friend. It can be uncomfortable. It's going to be full of blah days. It's going to be full of moments of setbacks where you feel like you're just simply not making progress. And I tell this to all my ladies all the time. But when you have a grounding point, kind of like a beacon, actually I have one of my clients who chose anchor as her word this year. You remember that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep becoming. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be anchored. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to trust, to believe, to surrender, to push through. Your identity isn't lost in the disorder. It's just buried. And recovery is the process of your true and your best self and your identity that isn't based on body image or what other people think of you or what the scale says. It's really just based on who you are inside at your core and who God created you to be. So if you haven't chosen a word for this upcoming year, I want to encourage you to do that today. Sit down with a journal, get quiet, get honest. Don't freak out that it's after January 1st and you're like, I should have my word already. Okay, no, we're not going back to the perfectionist tendencies. You're allowed to pick your word anytime. But I want you to ask yourself these questions. What do I need more of this year? Like, what do I want more of this year? What am I ready to let go of this year? Who am I becoming in my recovery? What is God, enter my higher power, calling me into? And what would freedom feel like for me? Your word might be something like brave or nourish or grace or enough or present. It might be a word you've never thought of before. But when you land on it, friend, you will know you're just going to have that feeling of discernment. And then I want you to write it down. Share it with somebody that you love. Put it somewhere you can see it every single day. Let it be a beacon and a reminder when the eating disorder voice gets loud. Let it be your anchor when recovery feels impossible. So if you're sitting here and thinking, gosh, Lens, I love this and I want to choose a word, I want to step into who I'm becoming, but I don't really know what to do next. I don't want to head into 2026 and do the same thing. I want you to know that the reason why you're probably struggling in this is because you're doing it by yourself. I have 2 incredible ways to get support for you in 2026. First, there's the Recovery Collective. This is a group community. It's a support group where women just like you come together with me to do the deep work of recovery. There's accountability. It's a sisterhood. We meet every other week for 1 hour, and you get access to a private chat for inspiration, for accountability, etc. Secondly, there is my Freedom Formula experience. It is one-on-one and personalized. Not any client is the same, and not any relationship that I have with each of them is the same either. I literally partner with you side by side. If you're ready to go all in into that, and if you're ready to do some transformational work in the new year, then I would love to help walk beside you, hold you accountable. I'm taking applications right now. If you're ready to make this year your best yet, go out to herbestself.co and you can fill out a client application there. All right, girl, before I officially lose my voice, because somehow over this crazy holiday, I've been getting the sniffles and my voice is going away. So hopefully I can finish out this episode. But I want you to make 2026 the year that you become better. And as we step into this new year, I want you to remember something. You don't have to have it all figured out. That's not becoming better. You don't have to have it perfectly. That's not becoming better. You don't have to know exactly who you're becoming or what that even looks like. When I say your best self, friend, that just means you have to keep showing up. You keep having to choose yourself over and over. You keep leaning into the uncomfortable, into the messy, into the gray space, because that is where the light is. That is where change happens. That is where you become who you were always meant to be. So here's to 2026. Here's to becoming. Here's to choosing yourself and stepping into freedom that's been waiting for you all along. I believe in you, and I cannot wait to see who you're going to become this new year. Until next time, Happy New Year. I'll talk to you soon, girl. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.